So tonight, we're bringing together voices from across the early childhood community, advocates, providers, parents, because we know it takes all of us to create the kind of system that families need. First, you'll hear from two organizations that work every day to strengthen the care and education systems families depend on, NJAEYC and NJSAC.
I birthed 3 times in the legislature. So we have taken up this issue, and it's not anything that is new to us. We've been doing this for many years. In fact, a few years ago, I introduced a piece of legislation that required a universal daycare program, and it required the providers to actually be empowered, not taking the program and putting it with the school district, but making sure that we were able to have a partnership with the providers, because as we know, and as you've heard, and we're here preaching to the choir, many of the providers are women-owned businesses and also Black and brown peoples, right? So we have an issue overall with the daycare sector. We know that now this is exasperating it, but there are other fixes that we have got to make. We know that the issue of paying for employees and making sure that we can be competitive in offering those rates has been a struggle for a number of years. We know while trying to balance that delicate balance of making payroll and making sure that all other things that inflation entails is being taken care of, unfortunately has caused a rise also in the actual tuition for parents who don't receive subsidy, which would also ultimately impact parents who do receive subsidy too. So the daycare sector is one that has been fragile far too long. And we have been fighting for years to get people to understand that, and have even made the arguments to interconnect the fact that if daycare gets to be too expensive, or if you don't have those subsidies available, then guess who's gonna more than likely be the one to drop out of the workforce? I stand before you, a state senator, and I'm telling you that right now in my household, I would more than likely be the one to have to drop out of the workforce. It's not that our men don't take care of our children, because they do, but it's going to disproportionately impact women. So this is an economic issue throughout the state. Now, bringing it home to today, these are my sisters who are going to speak, Shanique Spate, as well as Angela McKnight. Angela McKnight is in the state Senate with me, and Shanique Spate in the Assembly. We have forged a bond and an alliance, and we are already drafting legislation to fix this issue that is occurring today. So with that said, I'm going to pass the mic to my sister, Shanique Spate, who's going to be able to speak in more details.
Good evening, everyone. So before I'm a legislator, I'm a mother of 4. And I remember when my children had to go to child care. They're all adults now. And we were paying $50 a week. And that was a struggle back then. That was 20-something years ago. And so we in 2025, I do understand the burden that it would have on our providers and on our parents. So on Friday, July 18th, I know many providers got that email and was all like in disbelief, and possibly read that email maybe 3 or 4 times trying to digest what this email was actually saying and how it's going to impact. As my colleague just said, it will impact the women's workforce. As you know, child care centers possibly will close. Employees will lose their jobs. Mothers possibly will have to quit their job. You have mothers out now on maternity leave that possibly have a child in child care center now, want to go back to work in September. So now she got to choose between, do I go back to work or do I now stay home with my child, right? So even with that being said, you also have the 6% copay increase. People say, oh, that might not be a lot. But the copays that people have now, sometimes they're not able to afford them, right? Whether it's $5, $10, or $15 a week, but to go up 6%, and parents don't know this is what's happening on tomorrow. Because after the 31st, after tomorrow's date, guess what? Parents are not going to be able to sign up. So as my colleague said, this will impact the Black and brown communities. This will impact the families in our communities, possibly separate families, also put providers out of business. I will continue to be a partner and an advocate in this space because guess what? I'm a mother first before I'm anything else. And I ran a child care center for years, so I understand the impact that it have. And when we talk about the subsidies and you talk about child care centers that's open possibly from 7 to 6 o'clock, in all actuality, 2 of those hours that the babies are there, they're there free because you have some there from 7 to 6. And guess what? They only pay for 8 hours. So the burden goes on to the provider, and the provider is trying to figure out this cost. But guess what? We're making sure we provide these services for these children because guess what? The parents have to work. The employees have to work. The providers are trying to keep their child care centers open. So we're working on legislation, just like my colleague just said. I've also drafted some legislation when it comes to pay equity in child care, also health care and child care. We will continue to be a partner. We will continue to be an advocate. We will not be quiet on this issue because I know the impact this will have on my city and my district and all of our communities. We cannot be silent. I know we talk about the legislature and it's on us, but guess what? We're going to fix this. This can't stay like this. We have to fix this. And we will continue to outcry. We will continue to outcry, fight for our babies, fight for our providers, and fight for our community. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to echo the sentiments of both my colleagues from the Assembly as well as the Senate. And when I learned about this, I saw this on Facebook. I was trolling, and this came up on Facebook, and I stopped because people were saying in the comments, and I read it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. July 31st is coming, and it's coming quickly. So I quickly made some calls, and then I started getting calls from providers. I'm from Jersey City, and I've been getting calls from providers saying, what are we going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm on it. I will not allow you to deal with this burden by yourself. And my 2 colleagues already spoke. I'm a mother as well. And I remember when my 2 children were in school and we had to put them in daycare and we had to pay. I am a grandmother. My grandson is 7 years old now, but his mom was able to get a subsidy, and then we also helped pay for his child care. So I know and I understand the plights of what you're going through. Then you think of now the different requirements that child care centers have to face. They have to do equipment. They have to do facilities improvements. How are you going to do that when you're only getting paid for 8 hours? 8 hours a day for a child, but you have to go through all of these rigorous requirements. So I'm here to tell you that I will fight for you. I will fight with you. I also introduced legislation for the child care providers to be able to work directly with the state and not with the district. So that if you are enrolling children in your facility, you have a contract with the state, correct? So you should be working directly with the state so that you can satisfy that contract. Also, I fought to make sure that enrollment, you are paid based on enrollment and not just attendance. Because you cannot tell your teachers, don't come today because we only got 5 kids. Don't come tomorrow because I don't think 3 of them going to come. You can't do that. So I stand here with my colleagues, fighting with you. You know, we are your friends, we are your sisters, we are your fighters, and we're going to continue to fight. And 10 kids between us. Look at that, 10 kids between us. So we're going to continue to fight during the summer when we go back in September and any time afterwards. So you have a friend and you have partners and you have advocates in us. And I want to thank AC&J and all the other partners for being here, and to the parents and to the providers, thank you. And to the community members, thank you. And I will say this, reach out to your fellow legislators. If it's not me, it's 120 of us. So reach out to all of us to let all of us know that you need our help. And we are in this together. Because let me tell you, if you all don't get the money that you need for a quality education, the ecosystem is destroyed. So thank you so much.